Hello and welcome to the prelim specific discussion of the Hindu. Today we shall be discussing the newspaper of the 2nd of March. So coming to the first discussion. Now majority of the news in today's newspaper is political. So there is not much relevance for prelims, but one topic is what we can discuss. Now this is largely in line with the fact, as you all know, that the Indian Air Force officer, Wing Commander Abhinandan Varthaman has returned back to India safely, which is a matter of great joy and pride for the country. In that context, we can discuss the Geneva Convention, which is being highlighted. Now, India is saying that the return of the officer is not a humanitarian gesture by Pakistan, rather its obligation under Geneva Convention. So what is Geneva Convention is what becomes important for prelims. Now, you should know that it was a convention that was established that establishes the standards of international law for humanitarian treatment in war. Now, first and foremost, you should know that this word convention, when it is taken in the international perspective, it represents an agreement between several countries. So that is the first thing that you should know here. So obviously, as I discussed, it establishes the standards of international law for humanitarian treatment in war. Further, you should know that it comprises of 4 treaties and additional protocols. There are 3 additional protocols to the Geneva Convention, which have been done over the years as some changes to this convention. Next, what is important is that it was negotiated in the year 1949, and this was done in the aftermath of the Second World War. So this year is what becomes important. Also, what is important is that it defines the basic rights of wartime prisoners. So in that context, also this becomes important for us. And next, what is important is that the treaties were ratified by 196 countries, and these 196 countries includes both India as well as Pakistan. So both India and Pakistan have ratified the Geneva Convention, and thus they are obligatory to follow the norms and the of this particular convention. The rules of this particular convention, the standards of this convention is something that are mandatory on both India as well as Pakistan. Next, what is important is that it applies at times of war and armed conflicts to governments who have ratified its terms. Now, Pakistan was saying that this was not a time of war, so Geneva Convention is not what is applicable, but what is important that India has raised is that this was an armed conflict between 2 governments, and as a result of which Geneva Convention is very much applicable. So that is one important analysis. Next, what is important here is that it amounts to surrendering of some degree of national sovereignty, as is the case with any convention that is signed by a country. As any international convention, definitely it surrenders some degree of national sovereignty, and it is for the benefit of mankind, for the international governance, that this surrendering is something that is mandated. Sometimes the questions like these do come, that is signing of an international treaty only negative? So in that context, you can give this example that no, it is not always negative. Suppose in signing of Geneva Convention, how India's officer was returned back to the country safely. So this was only because of this particular convention. So that is the application aspect of these conventions in the mains paper. Another thing that is important is that if there is any breach in this particular convention, then the matter is what is dealt by the United Nations Security Council. So this is what is important vis-a-vis Geneva Convention. A question can be expected in this regard. UPSC is known for asking some international body in its prelims each year, and this year Geneva Convention and the United Nations is going to be important. So that's all for today. I thank you all for watching the video.